Power is often imagined as something loud, something visible, something that announces itself. We picture authority as raised voices, firm commands, decisive gestures. We imagine power entering a room and immediately taking control. But real power rarely behaves this way. Real power is quieter, more patient, and far more effective. It doesn't shout to be noticed. It doesn't argue to be obeyed. It doesn't need to explain itself. Real power silences, not by force, not by intimidation, but by shaping the environment so that speaking no longer feels necessary or safe. In one company, there was a man everyone considered competent. He was reliable, consistent, experienced. He arrived early, left late, and rarely made mistakes. When problems appeared, he solved them quietly. When others failed, he absorbed the extra work without complaint. In meetings, he listened more than he spoke. He didn't interrupt. He didn't challenge decisions publicly. He believed professionalism meant restraint. He believed that good work over time would speak for itself. At first, this belief seemed reasonable. After all, organizations claim to value competence. They claim to reward merit. They claim to promote those who deliver results. But something subtle began to happen. Decisions were made without him in the room. Conversations continued after meetings ended, without him. Information reached him later than it reached others. Not dramatically, not obviously, quietly. When promotion cycles arrived, his name was never mentioned. Not rejected, not debated, simply absent. He waited for feedback that never came. He waited for explanations that were never offered. He waited for recognition that never arrived. No confrontation followed, no formal rejection, no clear message, just silence. And that silence was not accidental. It wasn't personal. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't even hostile. It was structural. Because power, in most systems, does not operate through confrontation. It operates through design. Structures decide what is rewarded long before people do. They define which behaviors are encouraged, tolerated, or quietly filtered out. And most structures do not reward competence first. They reward predictability. Predictability is easy to manage. Predictability doesn't create friction. Predictability doesn't slow decisions down. Competence, on the other hand, can be inconvenient. Competence often comes with questions, with standards, with awareness. And awareness introduces risk. Silence is safer. A silent individual rarely disrupts momentum. They rarely force uncomfortable discussions. They rarely expose weaknesses in the system itself. So systems learn something important. They don't need to punish dissent loudly. They don't need to confront it directly. They simply stop responding. Emails go unanswered. Ideas receive no follow-up. Requests are acknowledged but never acted upon. Nothing is denied. Nothing is approved. Everything just stalls. Over time, people learn. Not through instruction, but through observation. They learn which voices are amplified, which ones are tolerated, and which ones slowly disappear from relevance. They learn that speaking up doesn't lead to consequence. It leads to invisibility. So they adapt. They speak less. They ask fewer questions. They accept decisions they don't fully agree with. Not because they believe in them, but because resistance feels pointless. And here is where the illusion becomes complete. From the outside, the system appears calm, efficient, orderly, no conflict, no arguments, no visible oppression. But this calm is not fairness, it is compliance. And the people who truly decide within these systems are rarely visible. They don't sit at the center of attention. They don't need to justify their authority. They don't participate in open debates. Their influence exists in what is excluded, not in what is announced. They shape outcomes by defining boundaries. What can be said, what can be questioned, and what quietly leads nowhere. Power works best when you don't see it, when its presence feels like neutrality, when its decisions feel inevitable rather than chosen, and when silence is mistaken for agreement. Many people believe they are being overlooked. They assume they need to work harder, be more patient, wait longer. But often, they are not being overlooked. They are being managed, not through force, not through threats, but through carefully maintained silence. Understanding this does not make the system disappear. It does not guarantee protection, and it does not promise advantage, but it changes something essential. It restores awareness, and awareness is the first thing power tries to silence.